James Caan is one of the UK's most successful and dynamic entrepreneurs. He's amassed an £85 million fortune through creating global recruitment businesses and from his private equity empire in London's Mayfair. With an impeccable track record of creating and managing companies, he's now taking this first-hand knowledge on the road to mentor 6 of the UK's most vibrant small and medium-sized enterprises. He's on a mission to navigate the entrepreneurs through the challenges they face, to seize market opportunities and to boost their bottom line. With James's nearly 30 years of business expertise, will the young companies make the change or stick to their ways? The Business Class begins here.
Each episode, our resident guru James Caan will be joined by a sector expert, and together they'll be addressing key challenges facing a particular SME. James.
Thank you, Carolyn. Joining me now is Lisa Thomas, CEO of M&C Saatchi Group.
Okay, James, now for the grand reveal. Company 1, Blippar. This is a firm trying to leverage the augmented reality space. Let's take a closer look.
Hi, I'm Ambarish Mitra.
And I'm Omar Tayyib, and we founded Blippar in 2011 with offices in London and New York.
We have 3 million users, 750 brands and 42 employees.
And our projected 2013 revenue is £5 million. Blippar allows the user to point any device to a real-world object, and from that image we can extract information and give the user some interactive content. And that content could be created by us or by the brand or by the user.
People who are supplying the content for the end users are brands and publishers, and we charge them and we monetize those relationships. That basically is the fundamental business model.
I love to see entrepreneurs that really believe in what they're doing. Their kind of passion and commitment about the business really came across well. So clearly many uses, a good, viable opportunity. What was your thoughts, Lisa?
I agree. I think the passion that they have is palpable, and that's always very exciting to see.
I'll tell you what I picked up, Lisa. I think first thing is you've got to know it exists.
Yeah.
So that's kind of barrier number 1.
Indeed.
I don't know it exists. Barrier number 2 is I need the app before I can even experience the journey.
Yeah.
Secondly, when you look at Blippar, it seems to be more of a gateway. This is really something that enables the consumer to interact more with that brand.
Yeah.
The problem is they've got to know it actually exists first in order for that to happen. I think customer usability is so crucial.
Each episode, our entrepreneurs give us their 2 biggest challenges. Let's take a look at the first one.
One of our unique challenges is that we have to market to both brands and consumers at the same time. How do we effectively allocate our marketing resource so that we cater to both? As there's no point of having consumers without content, and there's no point of having content without consumers.
I think from the statistics it shows that nearly 20 million blips have taken place. I suppose the key question is how many of those 20 million blips came back again? And from what I understand, they've got £250,000 as a budget. If you were going to advise them how to spend that £250,000, how would they spend it?
I would very strongly think about some very close partnerships with with brand partners. Maybe a big brand partner, maybe one single big brand partner might be a good way to spend it, with some influence on the content and the nature of the promotion. And I would also think from a consumer point of view about the role of PR and maybe social media and blogger outreach with such a small budget.
In a minute, I'm going to grab the founders, but first let's bring you challenge number 2.
One of the challenges we have as a business is consumer behavior. The behavior to blip means to hold your phone in the real world and make things come to life. How do we make to blip, like to Google or to tweet, a global phenomena?
I think firstly what you need to do is make sure that what you have is something that the consumer really sees value in. I remember when Google first came out, accessing crucial information when you needed it, I think was absolutely critical. The question is, how does Blippar make itself into something that becomes a must-have?
I think Blippar need to think about the things that are going to make people, instead of downloading Blippar once, using it for a Tesco promotion or one-off promotion, how it can become part of our normal behaviour. That's when people will talk about it, they'll use it all the time, and they'll start talking about blipping.
Do you see that kind of demand out there for people wanting and needing something that's going to make that sort of difference?
I think it could be.
What's the missing ingredient?
I worry that there is a focus on sort of short-term excitement rather than ongoing, longer-term real value. I think if we can think of ways to create that real value in certain sectors or in certain spaces or certain incidences in our lives, I think it could become really interesting.
I mean, I think anything in today's world that becomes a global phenomenon, the first thing you need to do, you've got to be in China. Yep. You know, one of the world's biggest consumer markets today. Yep. You've got to be in India. Yep. You've got to be in Australia, in Canada. You know, so I think penetrating global markets and getting that accessibility to a much wider audience, I suppose, must be number one on anything if it's going to become global.
Which is why I think a partnership with a big brand that will go global, a big mobile phone brand where Blippar was embedded in their software, has got to be on the list of things to consider.
James, nice to meet you. You must be Emma. Well, gents, welcome to the business class. We took on board the two challenges that you presented to us. The question is, will you take on board some of the advice that we shared with you?
I think you made some interesting and valid points about the business, but there are certain points that we don't agree with on how to grow a business in the space. Now, one point that you mentioned was to be able to embed it into devices. I think embedding into devices at this stage of the company is too early. We've seen it happen with some of our competitors and fail because there isn't enough content out there for the users to blip. We need to build this momentum and this user base slowly so that it sticks.
So, in summary, guys, firstly, let me tell you, love you guys, love the passion, love the concept. I think what you've done is really amazing. I think from a business perspective, you know, my view is certainly for this to become the global phenomenon that you're looking for, this needs to be able to be out there far more aggressively than it is at the moment. Now, if that means having this embedded in a piece of hardware, then I believe that's what you need to do. Any business I come across, everybody says marketing is key. What Lisa pointed out, not only is marketing key, but the budget is key too. And right now your budget isn't big enough. You need more capital to achieve what you're looking for. And therefore, strongly I would recommend that you probably need to raise money sooner rather than later. Because in technology terms, timing is so crucial. I hope you take some of that advice on board. And all I can do is wish you every success, because I would like to see Blippar become that global term that you're looking for.
Thank you very much.
James, we've almost come to the end of the show, but as promised, here's the viewer question for you. Alexander Bibovsky tweets, should you work for free at the beginning in the incubator phase, especially as a founder? What do you think?
Well, you know, as an entrepreneur, I'm not a great believer that you can be half pregnant. I think if you're going to become an entrepreneur, you've either got to be 100% in or you've got to be out. I don't believe you can build businesses doing it part-time. If you really believe in what you've got, if you believe and you're passionate, I think you should give it 100%. And if that means you've got to do it for free, you've got to do it for free, because nobody ever became that successful doing it part-time.
Okay, James, really good advice there. If you want to ask James a question, tweet us using hashtag CNBCBizClass. That's it from me. I'm Carolyn Roth.
And I'm James Caan. And we'll see you next time a new company enters the business class.